Welcome to EGO NetCast. I am Martin Lindeskog. Hi, Lisa Sicard.
Hi, Martin. How are you?
I'm fine. What are you thinking about?
I'm excited to be on your podcast. We're finally actually talking after all this time we've been on BizSugar communicating.
Yeah, that's great. And I see you are an expert on Twitter, even written a book about it. And you tweeted about thanking Janice Walt about mentioning you and said that she wanted to listen to a conversation with you. So here you are now. And we have talked
Yes,
in the
amazing
past
how it
about
works.
this. Yeah. You have been out on a trip, right, in Europe?
Yes, I was on a Viking River cruise in July.
Yeah.
Was there for 2 weeks, and it was beautiful. I highly recommend anyone to do a riverboat cruise. It was just amazing.
Yeah.
It's the first time ever that I've had 2 weeks off of vacation too.
Wow. Yeah, it must be nice then. So, and we talked here in the green room about how long time you have been on BizSugar. You have been there since 2012. And
Yes.
so you've been there for a long time, and we have talked back and forth in different ways, mainly on Twitter, but also on BizSugar, of course, and we have read each other's blogs and other blogs. So it's fascinating, and you have submitted plenty of stories here over time, over 300, I think, and you have
Wow.
commented almost 400, and you have voted for over 4,000 times. So you're a very active
I guess
member of BizSugar.
I guess I have spent some time there. I remember the
Yeah.
early days. I was following Arlene Smith on her blog, and I believe she's the one that introduced me to the community there, and that's how I got started. And it's been great. It's a great way
Thanks.
to meet other people, other people in the blogging industry. I read a lot of different articles from there, and sometimes you get featured on the Small Biz Trends site from there, and it's all fantastic. So it's really worth spending a little time. I would highly recommend it for any blogger to join.
Yeah. So we have to thank Eileen Smith, Eileen at Eileen on Twitter and other social media platform. And as I said, you have written a book about Twitter. Could you tell a bit about that book and your interest in Twitter and how you use it?
Yes, I started on Twitter a long time ago. I had a retail website. It was a medical scrub website. And I started tweeting. I was just not tweeting about the products that I was selling on the website, but I was tweeting information, medical information, people that would use medical scrubs. And one day I got a tweet from a doctor in Texas and ended up making the largest sale from the website ever through Twitter. And that's how I really became fond of Twitter and just got all immersed in, digital media through the sales of that website. So it kind of just happened.
And you have been nice to help me out sometimes. I if I would pick one social media, and we could talk about that in one story that you have submitted that another person have written, but about to create your own hub like the blog, and then have different satellites like Twitter. But if I had to, and also when you get a question from a client, where should I be? Then of course you should be where your customers are and where you want to have interaction, etc. But if I had to, so-called, pick one social media platform and tool, I would pick Twitter because I like the openness, transparency. You have to be, have to write short and sweet, even if it's now, how many characters? 280?
280 now.
Or, 280. Instead of 140.
Right.
So I like that form of it. But in a way, it have got some, how to say, not bad rap, but we have people who are using Twitter very much in different ways. And I recently saw it was a cover in a business magazine here in Sweden about when real Donald Trump on Twitter, I think he's handle. When he tweets, things happens with the stock exchange. So yeah, that could be something to think about. The power of Twitter.
Yes,
But you help.
it's really
Yeah,
it's really
continue.
one of the most misunderstood social networks. You know,
Yep.
when I go out and meet with local people that I, help with social media, most of them are not familiar with Twitter. They don't know how to use Twitter. They're so
Mm.
familiar with Facebook, or they may know a little bit about LinkedIn or Instagram, but when it comes to Twitter, it's amazing. There's not a lot of people that really understand it compared to
Yeah.
some of the other social networks. So I think it's the most misunderstood.
Yeah, and in a way, it's Twitter's, you could say, fault also. I mean, or challenge. I like Twitter, and I know people who have been there, like in Blogger, people like Ev and others that had Blogger and then sold it and doing other stuff. But they have a communication challenge sometimes, I think. But
Yeah,
as I
yeah,
said, I like the things that the trending topics, for example, lots of information about news you get through Twitter, and also
right.
hashtagging and so on. But as I said, it's misunderstood in many ways. But may I ask you about that? You mentioned that because I'm traveling to a friend here in Spain, in Valencia, and he's a real estate agent. And you are doing things for real estate agents in your area in New England, right?
Correct. Yes,
Could you
yes, I just did.
tell a little about that, because that's the power of
Yeah,
social media and how to learn about it in hands on.
right. Right. I've worked with real estate agents for about 30 years. I was at a newspaper full time before I was doing what I'm doing today. And so I had a lot of relationships with different clients in real estate. And so when I, switched over to social media, that's how I became immersed in helping them with their social media. And
Hmm.
what I tell a lot of people in real estate, they ask, what social network to be on. It really depends who they're trying to reach and
Hmm.
if they have content. If they don't have a blog and they don't have a lot of content, I wouldn't recommend Twitter to them because they're going to be like, well, what am I going to tweet? You
Hmm.
really have to have some content to be on there. But if they're just on Facebook and they want to reach a younger female audience because the research is showing a lot of single younger women are buying homes, then Instagram is where they need to look at.
Hmm.
So it really depends on what they're doing and what they have as content. There's there's a real estate agent I know up in Massachusetts, Bill Gassett. He's on Twitter. He's phenomenal on Twitter. But he has a blog.
Hmm.
His blog is all about real estate, buyers, sellers, agents, and he's all around, content. So for him, it's a natural. But for others, if they don't have that content per se, they may stick with Facebook or they may go to Instagram or use LinkedIn. So
Hmm.
So it really depends
Yeah.
on what people are looking to do.
Yep. And I think
The,
that's a
the
sound
beauty of Twitter,
advice. Yep.
the
Yep.
beauty of Twitter that I really like though is that you get to meet people where
Hmm.
Facebook and Instagram usually you kind of know them first before you accept
Hmm.
them as someone on your page.
Yeah,
But
that's
with Twitter, you meet them. I met some local friends here years ago. We had an earthquake in Providence, Rhode Island, which is very rare. And
hmm.
I was following the trend on Twitter it was the southern part of the United States where the earthquake originated. It came up the East Coast. And I started talking to a woman in Providence who worked for another company, and we started tweeting with her and a couple other friends. We all went for lunch over the years, and I just went walking this afternoon with one of them. So it makes it really a small world.
Hmm. Yeah, it is, and that's for example, I see you see the trending topic in areas and so on. So I think that's a good thing, and Twitter have been very good to uh, pick up things that's happen and do it in a fast and quick way. So and thanks again for your help when it comes, because I have a hit, as I said, the Twitter follow limit rule now and then. I have my personal views why they haven't changed that for people who use it in a serious way, but that's their call. But could you give some tips again? I tweeted recently for a friend that wants to start blogging, and she's working. She has several things that she's doing. She have talks about like big issues in life and so on, and she's interested in photography, and she is also interested in mental health and exercising and so on. So she is on LinkedIn, she is on Facebook and Instagram, and she will start to blog. And then she was thinking of how she would create a content creation schedule, and what kind of automatic tools could you use? And I know, for example, I tweeted out. I'm still waiting for replies from Crowdfire, Hootsuite, Buffer, later I think one is called, and somewhere else. Could you have some comments
Yeah.
and thoughts about this automation, and also how to say take care of your followers and so on Twitter and others?
Right. I personally love Agora Pulse right now because I'm managing several accounts. So for me, it makes sense. When I went away on vacation, I had I have a couple freelancers, and I had one person dedicated just to my Agora Pulse that was able to respond to every social media account that I have, which was phenomenal. So that was, I just can't say enough about it. I couldn't have really taken a vacation without using that tool and having someone, to fill in for me. I've used the buffer in the past, and I really like the buffer. If you only have, one account or a couple accounts, the buffer is really good. I did not like Hootsuite. I know it's a popular one, but I never found it intuitive to use because I like to use the tools also on my phone. I'm always, on the go. I can't be tied to the desk, every day. So, and I've heard Later's pretty good. I have heard Later's pretty good. So I would, put some tweets in there, not only tweets that she's going to tweet out about her business, but even other people's. Like you can put feeds in the buffer. You can add other people's blog feeds so that you can pick the time of days of the week in order to share them. One thing I noticed when people are starting to tweet, they're afraid to tweet too much. So if she's only got, I don't know how many, do you know how many followers this person has?
She's not on Twitter yet, so she's mainly on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn, and then she will start blogging. So, but she wants to create like a content schedule somehow. So when she starts blogging, how could she post it on Facebook and Instagram? Maybe that's more manual, but LinkedIn and other places like that. But then you have this thing with APIs and what's happening with the different tools there.
Yeah, you could use the tool for pretty much all the social networks. I post Agora Pulse with Instagram. The buffer, I think it just sends a notification to your phone that you just have to hit in order for it to go. But it's much easier scheduling them than doing it on your phone, especially with the small phone and you're trying to get all that text in, make typographical errors. So it's great to schedule those out. So I do recommend that as the tools. And once you've got your schedule, after that first month, then you kind of analyze and tweak as you go along. But on Twitter, the weekends aren't as busy as during the week. So for someone new, I say, Monday through Friday is your best times, maybe 1 or 2 tweets on the weekend. And just to make sure that they respond to people, that's huge. You don't want to just be tweeting stuff out and not responding, or on any social network for that matter.
Yeah, and that's good that you're saying that, because that's like a segue for one question that I was thinking about, because I like the automatic things, the idea and the theory behind it, and I also interviewed one of persons behind at Buffer. I think he was at the marketing department there. Now he's at some other company, and I could include that in show notes also. But I have my philosophical idea about it, have real time or in time conversations. And I like the automation in a way, but I also want to be present. And I think that's one of the important things. So when you're saying that, it's something to think about. And that's one thing that I want to talk about. You recently submitted a post on Share BizSugar, and that was on this thing. Do you run a self-driven blog or community-driven business? And I comment on that myself, because as this podcast is called EGO, like I am in Latin, I think you should start with yourself, and often you have to do it. You have several hats on your head and do your thing.
Yes.
And then eventually you could get help and division of labor, and you could create some kind of online community and people who you know, like, and trust, that you could share things with and also have interchange with, and also some positive exchange. But often it takes time. So that's something to think about. And then you have to be present also. So you don't only so-called automatically spew out things, and then you want other users to interact with you, but you only do it very on like a robot way. So that's something to think about, to be, if you want to participate in an online community. And that same thing for like BizSugar. We have seen that Gail Gardner is doing a tremendous job there to introduce new users to the platform and to the mastermind. But it's interesting to see some people are joining, creating an account, and the first thing is that they want to sell something or link to their own stuff or whatnot. Right. It could be a culture issue, or something that your upbringing, or that you think that you should do that. And to joke a bit, I'm a former purchaser, so I'm a bit allergic to this too salesy thing, or pitching, or people who want to market their stuff but don't listen to on the other way. No two-way street. So do you have any thoughts, comments on that? And advice maybe how to interact on an online community?
I actually see that a lot on Twitter. I see some people that just retweet my tweets if it's their blog, but they don't retweet anything else of mine. I'm like, oh my God, that just drives me crazy. Like, I just think it's so selfish, and I just don't understand the logic behind it. So you really have to mix things up. You have to share others. You have to share yours too, because, you have to toot your own horn. No one else will do it sometimes for you. So you have to get your stuff out there. But it's usually that 80-20 rule. 80% should be other stuff, 20% your stuff.
And it's interesting there, but that's maybe another podcast, and I'm talking about ego and how to be selfish in a true way, rational self-interest. But I understand what you mean when you're saying that, and that's the thing that I see people have a problem with. And but the good thing is that you could have a conversation, you could comment, you could think about it, and you could learn from it. So, and the 80-20 rules is applicable in many different ways. So that's fascinating. And continue.
Sorry. It could also be cultural, because I've noticed that there's some folks out there that from other countries, they may tag you all the time, and it's like you're not even mentioned in the post or anything, but they're still tagging 50 people.
Okay.
And it's like, why do you tag all these people? You should only tag someone if they're mentioned. You're trying to, let them know that they're mentioned, or there's something special there for them, And so if someone would tag you all the time, then you're going to stop following them, or you might even block or mute them, depending on which network.
And I have a benefit of doubt there, that maybe it's, as you said, a culture thing, and then maybe you could ask in a nice way what's the meaning, or what's the intention. I do sometimes tagging like a ping. I like that sound, like ping pong. It could be like a CC, carbon copy, or for your attention or your information. So I think that I see something that could be of interest. So I think that you could do that. But if you see a long list only to get attention or something like that, then it's more, how should I say? It's a different way of doing it. You wouldn't do that in a physical way, like having a megaphone or shouting or putting things in people's letter boxes or something like that. And the same thing should be online. But then with Twitter, you could be, that's the interesting thing, like Twitter chats. I don't think Twitter thought about that they could have Twitter chats on Twitter. It evolved by itself, by a hashtag, and people show up on a certain time on a certain topic. So I think that's pretty interesting. And also you see hashtagging with Instagram in creative ways. It's harder with LinkedIn and Facebook when it's like a gardened place, I think. But
Yeah.
you see some
Yep.
interesting ways of using both Facebook and LinkedIn also. So that's pretty interesting. Do you have any other thoughts about new media or future things ahead?
Well, I just, I tell people not to do more than 3 networks because you don't want to be too overloaded. When I first started this 10 years, almost 10 years now, I used to join every new social network, and now I've really kind of pulled back and just try to focus on the main ones.
Yep. And it's interesting that you say so. I have an idea to relaunch my newsletter again, because that could be a gold mine. And you could debate if that's social media or not, but I think it belongs to your system. So like a newsletter, and I will always be a blogger in a way. And also for me, then specialization in podcasting. So blogging, podcasting, and a newsletter. But then you could, of course, be on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter, and using that as your satellites out there. But I'm also curious to learn new things. So that's the things, and I have to keep on up to what's happening. But I will not join every new social network that's out there. That's for sure. But
Right.
sometimes you have to
I
learn
was
about it and read about it and so. Yeah.
Yes, yes. I was happy to read recently about posting on Facebook pages that you shouldn't post as often. I was
Hmm.
like, phew, that just cut down a little bit of work,
Yeah.
But it's just that whole algorithm, the organic algorithm of Facebook for pages. If you post too much, it's not a good thing. So you gotta kind of be careful
Yeah.
how often you post. So
And that's
and now stories are huge. That's the
yeah. I
other.
think I
It's got
haven't.
kind of added more work. You got to do
Yeah.
stories on almost a daily basis. So yeah.
So yeah, it's fascinating because I haven't started. I watch stories and so on, but I haven't done it so much yet because I still wonder about. Okay, you do something and then it disappears. What's the meaning about that? But I get it.
The
But
fear of missing out.
yeah, it could be that. But I don't.
That's
I mean, that's the thing. I've been thinking about this a lot, and I will talk more about it. And I open to people could hire me to talk about that and have workshops and so on. Because I'm for social media, I'm also called a social media evangelist. But as you said, the fear of missing out, the stress, the things that you always have to be on it could have effects on your life and your business life. So I will present some ideas about that. And one book that I highly could recommend is Brian Solis' book, Life Scale. And he thinks lots of about this issue and also giving some how to say positive solutions how you could find a balance and in your life and also scale it also. So Life Scale by Brian
That
Solis.
sounds like a good book. That sounds like a great book.
Yeah. And here as another post that you did was about methods for saving money in your business today. Could you give some examples how you could save money and maybe also time and be more
Yeah,
effective and
it's
efficient?
it's just really keeping track because I find that a lot of business owners, they'll start spending, they'll start investing on different things, and then they don't know what they're investing in. I just spoken to a client this morning, and they were advertising on 2 different sites, spending all this money, and they didn't know what they were getting. I'm like, you really got to call and find out what are you getting for your money, and then let's make a decision. Are you going to stay with it or not? If you're not seeing the value, why do you keep spending?
Mhm.
So it's just really staying on top of it, because once you get busy, whatever business you're in, you get busy in the day to day. You're not looking at that budget. I love keeping just a little Excel spreadsheet myself every time, there's an expense.
Mm.
I just kind of mock it and just to kind of keep track where I'm at month to month. And when things get, when the dollars get a little bit bigger, it's like, okay, is there something I can cut here for this month or next month, and kind of look at it that way.
Yeah. And that's what, when you're saying that as a solopreneur, that's what I've been thinking about and also talking about on my podcast. I like lots of services, and I appreciate things and people who develop apps, applications, and programs and softwares and tools. But when you add it up, it could be pretty expensive for small business owners, and you have to think about it, of what you could get out of it. But yeah, that's something topic to probably discuss on BizSugar and others. And it's interesting that this new mastermind group is now on the Zoho tool there and the suite. So that's fascinating.
Yes.
This company, how they have developed different products and services for small business owners. So who would you like to listen to on next BizSugar feature profile here in user?
I would love to hear Eric Emanuel from No Passive Income. I'm always interested in trying to find other ways of, the no passive income. It's just, I would like to hear that.
Yeah, great. I've interviewed Eric on my podcast show here, EGO NetCast, in the past, and we had a great conversation. So I will definitely do that, and we focus on how he is using BizSugar and what he thinks about it, and also maybe some tips for future. Do you have any things like that, like wish list on future features on BizSugar, or some reflections about now you have been here for such a long time? Like an ending here.
I'm happy to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm happy to hear that there's going to be some new blood, because a lot of bloggers have stopped blogging. Every day I get like a broken link report, and I go, click to check on the link. It's some blogger that no longer blogs. Their blog's been shut down. So having some new blood on there, I think, would be awesome. And one thing I don't like, the little ad at the bottom, it's always like popping out at me.
Yeah.
If they could just change the way that looks, I think that'd be awesome.
Yeah. Is that on the BizSugar share, or is it on the...
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's
it's always it's always in the way sometimes. I'm like trying to do something. I'm like,
yeah, and I don't have I have a laptop and it's not so big screen, so I hear you, and probably Anita Campbell and others will listen to this, and that's good. And I think we should be like open and giving that kind of feedback. And on the other hand, the whole thing to run this is to get like advertising, smart advertising. And I've heard that they have been pretty successful with the ad company that's putting in that. I could include that in the show notes, because you could see that because very recently, I think it was a fair or a conference with them. So they're doing it in a smart way compared to the maybe big players, and but I hear you, and if you could do it so it's not in your face, and as I said, it will be probably for another topic with this, because that's the same thing with these pop-up things and others. That's not on BizSugar, but I have seen that on other places, and you have ads that following you along and so on, or in your way, and I think that could be a bit annoying. But on the other hand, I understand why you could use that, because you could run the business in that way, and you need to get as we talk, you need to get income in different ways, passive and active.
I totally understand that. I know because I sold ads in print media and digital for 25 years, so I totally get that they need to. I appreciate that they have the ads, because that way we don't have to pay to be on there.
But you could
do service. So
but it's very good.
Understand.
It's good if you could tweak that. So that could be like a design or programming thing. So that's good. What I've done, I mean, if you see that one, and if it's on your way, I mean, when you, because it could be scripts and so on also. So that's good to report if something is happening that's not working. Otherwise, I think
Right.
somewhere in the corner where you could click it so it closes. But for me, as an ending on this, this is it's interesting how you could get served interesting ads because depending on your location and so on, and what you have
Right.
clicked on before. So yeah, it's a fascinating topic, Lisa. So that's thanks for your feedback on that. And how could listeners find you on the net?
They can find me through Inspire to Thrive is my blog. On Twitter, Lisa Pat B is the main handle. I do have an Inspire to Thrive as well, but I use the Lisa Pat B more frequently. So you can tweet me. I have the Inspire to Thrive Facebook page. I'm on Instagram as Inspire to Thrive. So you can find me just about anywhere.
Yeah, great. So thank you for your time, Lisa. Do you have any ending note here that you want to say before we wrap it up?
I just want to say thank you. Thank you very much for having me. And I'm happy that BizSugar is continuing to move forward and that it's getting more engaging and more people are coming on. I'm real excited about that.
Thank you very much,
So
Lisa.
I recommend it. Any blogger, that's something I always, any bloggers that say, where should I be? That's one of the places. It's on, top 10 on my list there.
Good. Yeah, that's a good tip. So thanks again for spreading the good word, Lisa, and talk to you soon again.
All right. Thank you very much, Martin.